Sparker, and welcome to my channel if you are new here. If you haven't gotten the chance to check out any of the previous episodes of this series, I do suggest you do so now, as we are on day 24 of Echoes of the Past October, a month-long prompt event being run by none other than Typically Untypical. If you haven't gotten the chance to check them out, please go do so now. Okay, today's prompt is: one need not be a chamber to be haunted. One need not be a house. The brain has corridor to passing material place. Emily Dickinson. There of course are some trigger warnings for this episode, as with all others in this series, so please check the description, and remember, viewer discretion is advised. And without any further ado, this is The Reason by me. Virgil was an ordinary person. He led an ordinary life and was just as happy as anyone else around him. Yet he held anxiety and major PTSD from the years of his life that he would never talk about. He was strong to a fault, successful and happy, with the most happy, fun, and understanding man he had ever met. Patton watched Virgil with a small, frustrated look as Virgil finished explaining that the finances they had just weren't enough to open up a shop yet. They had been talking about it for a while, but every time Virgil said they shouldn't, Patton always got that look on his face. The kind that was so frustrated that Virgil wanted to just lean forward and kiss it away. He wasn't exactly the most intimate person, but he would do anything to watch Patton smile. Yet he was too scared to make the one move that might just get rid of that look once and for all. He just couldn't, not without knowing they could sustain without the shop. It was something that they'd been looking into for so long that it almost felt like it was already real. Patton looked calmly back on him, his frustrated look melting away. "Why are you so scared?" he asked finally. Virgil gave a slow exhale. He had been trying to avoid the question since long before they were ever dating, back when the idea very first came up in conversation. Patton wanted to start a shop, and Virgil was the person he wanted to start it with. Virgil hadn't realized in the beginning that it might have been an attempt to subtly ask him out. At the end, Virgil just swallowed his fear and presented Patton with flowers and a scribbled out note. Of course, Patton smiled and said yes, but it would have taken less time if Patton just outright asked Virgil to date him. Yet, the topic of opening a shop was still constantly coming up, and every time it made Virgil a little more nervous. What would happen if Virgil explained why he was scared? Would Patton support his decision to hold off? What if Virgil told him and he laughed? Or worse, what if he laughed? Virgil's breath caught in his throat, and he forced himself out of his head, closing his eyes for just a few seconds. "Because, Pat, a life lived from paycheck to paycheck isn't a good life," he answered, finally, with a shudder in his voice that he couldn't hide. Patton held a confused look for only a moment more before slowly nodding and wrapping his arms around him. Patton was a grounding force, a way anyone who lived so deep in their head that they could hardly breathe could find a light. So Virgil would eventually get over his fears, but until then, staying right there seemed like an alright decision. I do hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. I know I have. I will see you all tomorrow, and remember, be safe.